All right, guys, we're live once again today. Myself, Professor Marcelo, Professor Angelo, Rilion, Gracie, Doral, and
Hello.
Rilion, Gracie, Orangeville from Canada. We're going to be talking here regarding self-defense. There's a wide talk, about it. We can be here actually forever, probably, right, guys? So
Yeah.
let's
All day with
start
this
here.
stuff, bro.
So let's start. Let's go, Angelo.
Well, I mean, the first thing probably best to talk about when we're talking about self-defense is the difference between being realistic and practice. So, the common topic that comes, you do self-defense and it's all prearranged or it's practiced, and then how do you turn it to a real situation? That's probably the best way to. So, asking you guys a couple questions. So,
Sure, go.
in my goal of training, right, and the way I was brought up, especially with first instructor, is we practice a lot of role playing with self defense. So in the jiu-jitsu world, was that a common thing for you guys, like to practice a self defense based stuff?
Well,
Go, Marcelo.
Technique.
go. Okay. So no, for me it was not something that I grew up with my jiu-jitsu, career. In Carson Gracie, I remember that we used to see this self-defense stuffs pretty much on the white belts, maybe, but very, very, very short. Something very fast. By that time, it was pretty much more training for competition, training, competition, training. So you really forget. You don't realize how important it is, and that's a new road. You can be in this road for years and years, and there's always something to add. It's incredible. This is something very new for me that I started to look with being more interested on this in the maybe last 5 to 6 years, and much more when I came here to live to open the school, because I realized that it's very important. It's good for the students. It's good for everyone, actually, and it's something completely new for me. I already saw. I saw pretty much a couple of them, or a lot of them, but much more watching instead of practicing, because I was much more focused on train hard, compete,
Competition part.
competition. So you skip this part, and now that I'm having more chance with Francis and you, and also with Master Hero, that he likes to show a lot. So it has been interesting for me, to learn, not learn at all, but to really be good on this, to feel comfortable doing this, to don't feel like weird when you try to show for the students. It's very important to be good, to understand, and to be as close as you guys are on this scenario that for me is kind of new.
Yeah. And Francis, for you, because I mean, you were training both judo and how was Sensei Meiji with all the judo? Would he do a lot of self defense?
Yes, a lot. Sensei, we used to do lots of those grabbing and then wristing and then hugging, defenses, hair pull also. But then, because of civil batting and also trave, they were both, I was training, under them from my white belt into my purple belt. So, man, many, many years. And most of the days and most of the classes, let's say we kind of, classes were kind of longer, were 1 hour and 1 hour 30, maybe, 2 hours of classes. So classes were longer. But we had like 30 minutes self-defense only. That was our drill part of the class, just well, stretch, run, push-ups, all those basic things, warm you up, strap to a little, and then self-defense for 30 minutes. But we started in a kind of slow pace, and then we had like sessions like 10 minutes, like fast, real, grab hard, slap hard, like grab and hug hard. So and I really love it. And I as I hear said, I did it for, man, like every class for close to 10 years doing it. So very, let's say intensive. And I was
so for
go
for the karate world, it's the same thing, and it depends on if you're more North American karate. If your karate was more developed here in North America, Canada, and the States, then they come. There's a market for it, up here in Canada, and I'm sure down there in the U.S. as well. I mean, every high school does self-defense stuff, like basic self-defense techniques. So then they started to brand it and to make self-defenses off of the technique that they learn in a martial art. But for my seniors, like some of my Japanese and foreign instructors, the guys that from out of town, they don't understand why you need to learn how to do a double wrist self-defense. They don't know why they don't have to learn how to do a hip. When you practice technique over and over, then you use the block to block that. The hand coming towards you to grab your lapels or your throat or your hair is the same thing as if they were throwing a punch. So you would just block that technique and then throw your counter punch per se. So in the self-defense world, in my instructor's eyes, if the person actually comes around and grabs onto your lapels or grabs your hair, you're too late. You've done like how many things wrong to let the guy get that close, or the person to get that close to attack you, to let the person get close to grab you in a headlock. All that stuff is kind of foreign to them. Well, why would the guy grab onto your lapels? If he's coming at you with his hands, then why wouldn't you clear the hands with some sort of a block and go? Where a grappling art is, you almost want to let them grab onto you first, right? Because then, if the guy puts his hands on you, then you can start to manipulate him and move them in the position that you want to do your self-defense.
Yeah, and this is a good question. That's something that always I had in my mind, because I was not very forced to train this part of the jiu-jitsu part of self-defense. That I don't know if we can call that is jiu-jitsu or it's another.
100%.
Yeah. I mean, why not? Yeah,
the foundation.
Yeah, because in my mind I was always built to think, and maybe a few times happened to me that 99% of the fights they go to the ground. We are always forced to think. That's a way of view, And then if you think about jiu-jitsu on the ground is pretty much everything is a self-defense. Just to know how to pass the guard, to mount, to put a knee on belly, to control the back, to choke, to break an arm, everything is a self-defense. But that's the way that I was forced to raise, thinking that, okay, I'm going to be tough enough to control. No one's going to be able to give me a punch or something to knock me down. So in the end, I'm going to be on the ground with someone. And
anyway,
so it's crazy to now for me it's completely it makes no sense, but that's the way
it's very nice too when we do, as a matter of thinking and also training, let's say that's my humble vision of it, is that when I'm training, like top or bottom, suffering or smashing or just being smash it, there are many ways for us to use all those ways, self-defense ways while we are rolling. So some locks or some headlocks or some escapes or some blocks or some frames. It's amazing that we can really use those basic knowledges when we are rolling or maybe training in a really good high level, too. So we try to we try to make it clear for the ones that we're teaching that self-defense it's key. We have to learn, and then we have to be at least a kind of a average level, so we are able to also have a better timing. So because it's really well key to have a good timing, to know when is a time to stop that a punch or a slap or grab or grip or pull or push. So that's my vision of it. That requires timing, and also require practice. So that's why we have to keep drilling it, and pretty much every time, every class, at least 10 to 20 minutes self-defense, but going going towards a kind of a real pace.
Yeah, what jiu-jitsu brought to the community of martial arts 530s realism. That's and we don't know how to fight on the ground. Judo was practicing that a lot, but then because they went into the sport side of things, they concentrate on that one point or the throw, and then once it get to the ground, there was a little bit of ground fighting, and then they stopped. But what the Brazilian side of jiu-jitsu started to concentrate on is that total ground self-defense, and through statistics and just normal understanding is that the stats are that out of 10 fights that happen every day, 9 of them, one or both people are going to end up on the ground. Now, for me, being a striker, I'm hoping the guy's going to throw a punch. I'm going to block, take him in the face, have it on his ass, and then I'm going to turn around and go home. But for the most case, and in a lot of understanding, what jiu-jitsu was that's probably not going to happen. It's very hard to punch someone out with one straight punch and put him asleep. I mean, if the guy I keep saying guy, or the person has any type of striking experience or even tenacity, or is in what we call flight or fight mode, the one punch knockout is not going to happen. Like, it's almost next to impossible to happen. So especially in a situation where you're moving and fighting, and all you have to do is put a pair of boxing gloves on, go into the dojo, and actually have a fight with someone, one of your students or another person, and you'll learn real fast that, oh, I'm just going to punch him in the face. Yeah, well, that shit don't work. Like, you're Mike Tyson and you got a punch like his, and you've been punching for a very long time. You're not punching someone once in the face and putting them to sleep. That ain't happening. So it usually starts with punching and striking, and then really quickly it turns into a grappling, because the guy doesn't want to get punched in the face, so he's going to hug you or hold on to you, or he misses your head. That's usually what happens. A guy swinging a monkey going after you, and he misses your head, and then all of a sudden, oh shit, I better grab onto something. And it looks like two fighting over a French fry, right? They're just like hugging, and they don't know what they're doing. With a little bit of of knowledge and experience and training, you can do jiu-jitsu for a couple of years and get a good understanding of how to defend from someone grabbing onto your head and where you want to be. And the best part about jiu-jitsu, and more so the jiu-jitsu that we study, the Brazilian side of jiu-jitsu, or what we do, is that we actually put ourselves in that situation. Even doing the sports side of stuff that Marcelo was doing, you have to actually pull the guy into your guard, and you're fighting all the time. So that realism is really good with learning stuff really fast.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
the learning curve
in a real short, man, is fast. And think about like a boxer or a kickboxer. The learning curve is really fast.
Correct.
You have 4 punches, you have a jab, you have a cross, uppercut, and a hook. And you get to learn how to defend yourself. So how long would it take? 6 months of getting punched in the face before you learn where to put your head and how to keep your hands up? You know
it's hard.
And punch that bag for an hour and a half and learn how to punch. Well, after 6 months of hitting a bag, you learn how to punch, and you become good at self-defense real fast. And they say, it's funny, they say that jiu-jitsu or boxing or kickboxing as an art form, it sticks to the communities that need it the most. And I'll make an example. Think about somewhere like Brazil. Brazil is a place where it's in like civil fighting all the time. Like, you can have a little war happening in one of the favelas, at any day, all the time. So really quickly, you have to learn how to fight fast. So waiting 4 months, 4 years, 5 years to do karate, you know what I mean, or some of the other arts like taekwondo before you learn how to do self-defense, it's pointless because in 5 hours you're going to leave the karate school and you're going to walk down the street and someone's going to punch you in the head. Well, how the hell is this high block going to help me that I learned in class? You know, unless you've studied it for 4 or 5 years, you're not going to understand what that high block's going to do. And it's a different way of teaching. You know what I mean? So taekwondo and karate and kung fu, those type of art forms apply themselves to an area where there is no civil conflict. But jiu-jitsu and boxing and kickboxing, man, if you want to learn how to fight real fast, do jiu-jitsu. You want to learn how to fight real fast, take up boxing, take up kickboxing. Because, man, within like 4 weeks of getting into the gym, you're going to learn how to grapple real fast or take a punch real fast, and you can become a real fighter quickly.
But what do you think that box? Let's think about two guys or girl or whatever, two students that they know zero. I think that box maybe it's kind of easier to start to have an understanding, because for jiu-jitsu takes time. For unless the person has
but
the
difference
really good mind,
difference with jiu-jitsu, Marcelo, is that you learn. I mean, within weeks, bro, you're grappling with each other. Like you're pulling the guy in the guard and you're trying to
hug
pass
each
the
other
guard.
and pass.
You don't know
the
what
guy.
you're doing, but you're rolling.
The struggle of doing it is enough as it is. And if you've been practicing the last pulling guard, well, 90% of the people that you have been pulled into your guard, they have no idea of how to defend that situation. They've never been on the ground before. You know, so that gives you that instant advantage. Like, you know, most big tough guys don't want to go down on the ground. They've never been down on the ground before.
And it's
especially if they go with their back on the floor, right?
Yeah. It's also
they stay on the bottom.
Yeah.
It's also clear that
they don't know. So
they become a turtle, huh?
If we watch, you know, well, the fights from you know, beginning, like even probably 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and then, you know, 90s, I mean, fights, right? Vale tudo fights, you know? I mean, so, I mean, Gracie family, they kind of knew, you know, everything, and they still know, but man, they were doing self-defense, you know? Horse Gracie, when he came to his first fights, you know, well, UFC 1, that he made, I think, 3 fights, right, in one night. He did self-defense, distance, pisão, clinch, take down, mount, you know, take the back and choke. Man, this is self-defense sequence.
Yeah.
So you know. So I mean,
and you have to understand that it's.
But that's what I said. That's what I said.
No one really knew.
No one really knew.
You know,
correct.
No one knew about the.
There was no tape. There's no, you know,
nowadays,
online. There's no, you know, DVD. There's no tapes around to sell.
By that time, they could not imagine that a grappling, because, you know, pretty much here in the United States, people, they used to know what by grappling.
Of course.
They
knew what grappling was.
The Greco-Roman.
No, it's the catch wrestling.
Yeah, so they knew this. So, but they could never imagine that, you know, on the ground you were supposed to go to the back, take an armbar, take a kimura. So that's why for me, I look for jiu-jitsu as a self-defense at all. You know, just to know how to be on the ground is a self-defense.
Yeah,
because you're gonna be on the ground most of the time.
Yeah, and it's kind of tricky, let's say, because guessing numbers again, but I think from 2000s until now, let's say most of people, and then most of places that well, people are teaching and also training, you know, our you know, let's say, because of tournaments grew so big, most of the places, they just look for rolling. You're gonna join a place because you want to learn how to do that fancy sweep and that nice choke and that. But if you, I mean, that's my humble thinking, you know, again, but also because I really like to and to listen and to learn from the past and from now is that most of the places you don't learn self-defense. There's no self-defense class. And well, if they teach you, it's because they just learn it by watching tapes as well. Because I mean, some guys they well never had this chance to kind of train every day, you know, self-defense like massive. So I think that we have to keep this flame, you know, burning. We have to keep teaching, you know, self-defense, because this is also core of our art. You know, someone that, oh, I want to be a, you know, a belt, whatever color it is. I want to be a purple belt because I'm a blue for 4 years. Or so, man, you have to learn some self-defense. But you know, when they move up to brown and then, you know, someday to their highest level, you know, well, black belt, and well, if they want to teach, they have to know self-defense. They have to know some judo.
Oh, yeah, for
they
sure.
have to know ground, gi and no gi, and also what is not so common, you know, nowadays, because I think probably well, because of here, you know, because man, we, you know, Marcelo and I used to train when we were kids just with speedos or with, you know, gi pants, and you are, you know, allowed to slap each other.
Yes.
So why this? Oh, this is too, you know, aggressive. It's too crazy. It is, but that's the way that, you know, you're gonna really learn that timing. When it's time to close and clinch. When it's time to, you know, take down. When it's time to control. When it's time to
be
block.
more realistic. Yeah.
Yes, because if it's just fancy things spinning around like, you know, betting bull and nice, it's very nice. I really love them, but you have to know the other parts, because if you just know how to be fancy, man, means that I think that you're doing something else. You know, Jiu-Jitsu is everything, so you have to learn.
And let me so let's say I get into an altercation and I jump down and I quickly heel hook someone. Okay, boom, like self-defense. Boom, I heel hook him. Like most people, okay, most people that'll be enough. But there's a lot of people, and a lot of people that I know, that literally, if you heel hook me, I will take my foot off and I will beat you over the head with it. That's not going to stop me from stopping in a self-defense.
True.
Oh, you break my wrist. Oh, okay, my wrist is broken. That's
have
not
another
going to
one.
stop me. To stop me, you're literally going to have to run over me with a car. You're going to have to, you know, you're going to have to choke me out.
Yep.
So some of those, oh, I got him, you know, tap, tap, I got him, you know, with a wrist lock. Yeah, okay, but there's a difference between self-defense and there's a difference between rolling at the dojo. And I'll give you an example. Jiu-Jitsu's fantastic art, but what happens if there's two attackers?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't mean about me and you, Francis, trying to control one person. I'm talking about
The opposite.
I'm defending myself against two guys.
Yeah.
Well, things are totally different then. I'm not going to pull him into my guard because, and I'm not even going to throw him down on the ground and get back mount and go for the choke when his buddy is going to literally pick up a garbage can and smash me over the head with it. So even not doing the slaps game at the school is you're doing detriment to your students. So learning a basic way to kick and punch and how to move standing is also really important. And all the higher level masters, master
for sure.
bearing, you know, the Gracies, all these guys can punch too. And actually, before they get into a grappling match with you, they'll punch you in the face. You know, I've seen it firsthand, and you can tell.
Close
Man,
the distance
you know,
against. To close the distance.
Man, but they know how to strike too. Like watching Master Rilion smash the bag. He's not a slouch. He knows how to punch. He knows how to kick, and he knows how to do some stuff. So, you know, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is a complete
amazing, right?
art. Man, like I mean, his self-defense is unbelievable.
He put things, you know,
literally
together, and he blend, you know, techniques.
His vision is another planet.
And it's very soft the way.
And you guys know me with self-defense. I love self-defense, but man, the way he can put things together is phenomenal. Like crazy.
The last time that we were there, that private that he gave for
the
us,
self-defense clinic.
was good, man. Yeah. I have to.
Man,
I have
three
to.
little things, details
Yeah.
that you can put onto your game and literally changes the whole thing. Cage work, like it was amazing. Some of the stuff that he was
Yeah.
doing and talking about it, and with the situation. I mean, I could literally piece that stuff together with some of the other stuff. I was putting like 3 or 4 self defenses together in one defense that he was teaching. It was phenomenal. Like, I mean, out of this world. But I mean,
Yeah,
that's comes with how many years of rolling around with your
a
brothers and
lifetime.
Oh
sisters
yeah.
and
Lifetime.
students, bro. Like, so you can start to understand. And his mind works like that. The way his
Yeah.
mind works
And
is
the
crazy.
founders, right? I mean,
I mean,
he just I mean, from the founder. I mean,
yeah.
he's the son of Carlos Gracie. So man, it's a different level. And
And when you
also
grow up fighting like that all the time,
your
like
mind is
imagine, like fighting, like at any time, it's like,
Even
okay,
to
start slapping each other in the face.
even to use the clothes that he wanted to use, he need to fight.
yeah. I
Bro,
want the shirt
yeah,
green.
bro.
No, it's my shirt, man. So let's go
Yeah,
downstairs and
bro.
fight.
And
I
imagine,
want the
I
ice
mean,
cream. No, it's mine ice cream. Let's go and
Brazilians
fight.
It's
Brazilians
crazy.
as a society hold their emotions on their sleeves. Like,
Oh
you
yeah,
know, they're so passionate about everything that they
everything.
do that, where the Japanese, they don't show their emotions.
Yeah, it's
Mad or
different. Yeah.
upset, you will it's like they don't. So you take the environment and then also geography of where people grew up, and you can start to see how stuff develops. The same martial art that was taught in one
Yeah, the culture,
place,
right?
like
Because of the
Rio de
culture of it.
Janeiro, changes when it comes to Canada. In Canada, we
United
don't
States
have
too.
no one to fight, bro. Like,
Angelo,
who's
I'm gonna make a
People are
question.
super nice.
So
yeah.
I'm gonna make a question. So for you, the most important, if you never did any kind of martial arts, you were like looking for, to learn fast how to start to defend yourself.
Yeah.
So boxing for you is the best, box or
Yeah.
kickboxing, and then comes jiu-jitsu, right? Or the combination,
So
of
so be,
course.
yeah, bro. Because
The
because I
combination,
have
of course.
I have that question asked to me, Marcel, all the time. Someone who has no experience walks into the school, I have 3 or 4 different options they can choose from.
Hmm.
So it's a simple question. Well, listen, are you okay with getting punched in the face? No, I want to get punched in the face. Okay, boxing's not for you because in boxing, you're going to get punched in the face. Okay, let me ask you another question. Are you okay with getting really close to someone? And they're like, what do you mean? Like, I mean, like, not even hugging, like, really close. Are you okay with someone actually sitting on your head?
On your
No, no,
face
no, no. I don't
sometimes.
like that.
City on your face sometimes. Your
On your
a butt
face.
on your
Like,
face.
some ass
Hey
is
man,
on
that's
your
it.
face. And it's like, no, no, I don't like that. Well, then you need to do Aikido, karate, you know what I mean? Judo, some of those arts.
And you
And it's a
started.
comfort level.
What
But
was
but
your first martial arts, Angels? Just
but
Karate. I started
Angelo,
karate first.
judo also. I mean, well, the way that the kind of classic way. There's lots of groundwork.
Oh, of
Lots of
course.
ground. It's not only the way that we see nowadays. Take
Sport.
down, take down, take down, because of the sports side of it. So I mean,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
our art is going towards this place.
Yes.
Competition. There's no self defense. Is only techniques gi or no gi side. So
And
judo also
and
switch it.
this is a whole other topic, but it's one that relates to what we're talking about. So let's take arts like stick fighting or kung fu or aikido. There's no
Oh,
tournaments
nice.
for those arts, right? There's no tournaments for those.
No.
So the art form is very small.
Yeah,
It's
correct.
like it hasn't grown. So anytime you attach a competition or a tournament to the art form,
Explodes.
then that art form
Yeah.
grows and gets
Correct.
bigger. The problem becomes, and we have this conversation in karate too, is when do you do sport and when do you do traditional? And how those two things. And the
And how
more
to blend them.
famous, and the more popular the sport gets, the more it gets away from the traditional side of
Correct.
things. Because as soon as you put rules and regulations
Yeah.
and stuff, it's not the same. Let me
Yep.
let me give you a perfect example with MMA and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu right now. Like without actual stand-up experience, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner will not get at that high level of MMA. They have to learn how to fight stand-up. And it's not because Jiu-Jitsu is not a full art form. It's because they put rules in place. As
Yes.
soon as you make the rule in MMA that there's only 5-minute time limits and you only have 3 rounds, that's it. You kill a jiu-jitsu guy because a jiu-jitsu guy needs to pull you in his guard and hold you there for 10, 15, 20 minutes. One of the classics that Hickson did was he had to have an open round. He couldn't do time limits like they do now. Because as soon as you put a time limit on,
Everything
it kills
changes.
it kills a jiu-jitsu practice. Everything changes. You
Yeah,
have to
for sure.
tire the guy out in jiu-jitsu. You're not aggressive in nature. Jiu-jitsu in nature is more of a controlling art. I'm going to
Yes.
pull the guy, I'm
Strategy
going to
fight.
control him in my guard, and it's thinking more. So you have to tire the guy out. Where in MMA you don't have that. 5 minutes, okay, stop. Give the guy a minute
And
break. 1 minute as an athlete, you can recover quickly and then
yes,
back in it again. Well, it changes the whole rule, and so that's what happens naturally when you open up into tournaments. Tournaments actually changes the actual understanding.
the
Now they
nature.
try to make the rules. Yeah, they try to make the tournaments to make it as close to as realistic to keep the traditional side, but
Yes.
there's
It's
no
It's
there's
hard to
impossible.
keep
no
it.
man,
Yeah,
there's no art
A
form or
business.
no
Then comes
tournament
the business
that's been
part.
yeah.
made.
Then
Yeah,
comes the
Wow.
business part.
yeah. I man,
Yeah.
I
Gonna
kind of
be 2 hours watching
yeah.
two guys wrestling.
And look,
We are
this
gonna
is
be
Yeah.
something.
watching, but
Yeah,
most
but
of the people they
but
don't want
guys,
to be.
No.
this is something that kind of happened. I think I think it happened 4 years ago. Wrestling almost got cut from the games. Olympic Games. Do you know why? There was not people watching the tournament
Yeah. Not
at the
popular.
Olympic Games. Olympic Games, which is
Yeah.
the highest level as possible. So means that, man,
Yeah.
a core, a fight, from the games, Olympic Games, which is since 1896, I think. They were kind of close to cut it from the program because there was not enough people watching, and also
Yeah.
people watching at home broadcast.
Yeah, that's the
Why?
problem.
Why? Because of the rules. So they have to change it again.
Yeah.
So means that.
Yeah.
So so then means that judo, wrestling, all those fight sports into the games, they keep switching rules almost every 1 or
Yeah.
maybe 2 years because
Judo, every time they're switching the rules.
why? To make
Yeah.
it more nice and fast for the public that
Yeah.
they don't know the rules.
Yes.
Because if it's
Same-
only us
same with
watching,
karate.
man, well,
Karate
we're gonna
is
be
the same,
watching.
right?
Yes.
Same.
So imagine, okay, so guys fighting Roger Gracie against I don't know, Buchecha fighting, man, 30 minutes fight. But wait, calm down. We have another
Yeah.
200 guys, to
Yeah. No,
fight.
it's not going to work.
So man, that's gonna take
No.
1 month of tournament. So
No, it's impossible. Yeah.
impossible. So I mean, why not put it like
Yeah,
5
and so-
minutes,
and-
different rules, faster,
Yeah.
man. You win. Oh, but there's no time, man. We're not talking about to be jiu-jitsu like core jiu-jitsu
And
tradition.
honestly, yeah, and
That's
honestly,
for the-
guys,
that's for the main public.
That's a whole other ball of wax. Like the thing with self-defense and the thing that we concentrate on with self-defense is to make sure. I mean, repetition is the mother of all skill. Did you guys ever hear that before?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
So if you want to get good at something, you have to repeat it over and over and over again.
Judo.
Now the
Judo
problem
mindset.
with that is that if you repeat it too much and your body gets used to doing one thing, then it gets away from, but the guy didn't grab me like that. You see it all, he hit me with the knife wrong. So
when he grabbed me
couldn't do
like
my
this.
self-defense.
If you switch
Yeah,
everything,
yeah, so-
you don't know how to. Correct. I agree.
Yeah, and so the repetition, we were talking about this before on Monday, is like, man,
Yeah.
to repeat things and to do it over and over again will get you better at it.
Yeah,
I think you need a level of both. It has to be realistic, and it has to be something that's applicable, so that's easy, fast to learn, and it's got to be something
And also fun,
that-
right?
that you can practice. Man, of course.
And
Well,
also,
if it's not fun, no one's gonna
imagine
do
for
it.
the kids and for women.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, it needs to be fun.
yeah, yeah.
Because the
Yeah.
kids, I mean,
And
they
then
really,
and
they
so
really, you know,
that's the whole side of the training side of things. And then what we can actually start talking about is the legal side of things, which gets asked to me a lot from a self-defense situation
true.
or at the self-defense courses. So let's
Because you
say
teach
I'm
a lot this,
into
right?
a situation, bro. When is it assault and when is it self-defense, and where's that line between the two? You know, so I'll give you an example. Some guy comes up, calls me a name, and starts screaming at me. You know, and even starts uttering death threats. I'm gonna beat you up. You're gonna get it, and then turns around and walks away. And then you jump on top of his back and you choke him out or you punch him out. And where does that line fall between, oh, I'm
Yep.
defending myself, or it's, you know what I mean? And
Hmm.
that's a really hard thing
Yeah.
to discuss. You know what I mean? And how do I know when is it okay for me to defend myself, and how do I know when is it okay for me to
Acho que tá
back
próximo.
away?
To
And
back
and they're
away. Yeah.
having the same, yeah, bro, and they're having the same problem with what's happening with the police officers. You know what I mean? Like, when
Yeah.
is it okay for the police officer to take the guy down, take him and go, or when is it not okay? And it
Yeah.
usually comes with this thing called, like we were talking about before, and Marcelo, you asked about before, is fight or flight. So you get into the zone where it's time to go. So I'll explain a little bit, and then we can talk about it. So when an altercation hits and two people are about to get into a fight, one person or both people get into this fight or flight mode, which is, your body goes through a chemical reaction. So just as if you were to push a cat in the corner and the cat starts to freak out, you can see that it changes, it's
Hmm.
changing. The same thing happens to a person. So when you're about to get into an altercation, your body goes through this chemical reaction. And basically what it does is it takes all the blood in your body and it starts pumping it to your extremities. It's a real neat thing. So what happens is the blood goes from your head and from your organs, and it starts pushing out to your arms and to your legs, and your heart's working really hard. That's why you get that really adrenaline rush. You know how, I mean, we've all been into altercations where you get this adrenaline rush, like, oh man, like, things are happening really fast. And at that point you can't really think.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've noticed that. I've put myself
No.
in that situation a lot. Your thought goes. So even your speech, there's something wrong with the way you're talking. You can't talk. And then sometimes you can't remember what happened in the
Yeah.
situation. You're like,
Yeah.
man, I just went through something. I can't even remember what
Yep.
happened because
Yeah.
it
I did
happened
this,
so
I did
fast.
that, but
Yeah, I don't even know. You have to look at a video afterwards. Oh, I
there's
punched
a
the guy in the face. I can't even remember.
look.
And then the other thing that happens is you get tunnel vision. So
That's
you
how.
can't see.
That's what I was saying.
And
Exactly.
you can't hear because remember, the blood's not in your brain anymore. It's left your brain and starts running to your heart and to your extremities because you need to either fight or flight,
Survive.
meaning run.
Also.
The
You know what I
survival
mean?
mode,
So
right?
that's what happens in that situation. And when you get into this fight or flight mode, and everybody gets into that situation, it doesn't matter who you are.
Yes.
You can calm it down. You can calm that situation down, but it doesn't matter. If you feel threatened or you are about to get into an altercation with someone, then what happens is your body goes through that reaction. With training, you can you
You
can
can manage
understand it,
this
you can
better.
see
Yeah.
it, and you can calm it down. But the same thing happens to a fighter right before they go into the ring to get into that boxing match or MMA match. You can't stop it from happening. It's just about, and you can see these guys like leaning up against the fence or just about to get into a boxing match. And that's all done through training. Like they've done thousands of hours in the gym so they can calm that feeling down. But when the camera's on you, there's $1 million on the line. All these people are watching. You're gonna
Different
you're
pressure.
gonna get scared. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter, and the other guy across from you is
It
skilled
was the same
and
thing as
wants to
you.
do the same thing
Yeah.
to you,
Yeah.
man. That's when fight or flight mode happens.
Gotcha.
And through practice, through practicing self-defense, like literally go through it again and again and again and again, or realistic, like, like the slapsy games that you're talking about, Francis, where you get on top and you play the slapsy game. You can learn to navigate through that situation and through that process in a calmer mind, but it doesn't mean that you're not experiencing the same thing.
Yes.
Everyone goes through
I,
that same type of action or understanding.
Yes.
Angelo, I have a question for you that might be for lots of people that they are hearing us, or that will hear
Okay.
us. Well, your life, I know that you'll be teaching lots of cops and guys that they work helping us, protecting us. So,
Hmm.
what are your thoughts, or maybe things that they told you? Oh, this helped me, a lot because of ABC. So, what you can tell us about this, please?
Yeah. So I have paramedics, police officers, firefighters, army people, people that are coming in. So when they finish the class, now I know tomorrow this person's going to be out on the street taking care of a really bad situation. And I can't replicate that. I can tell you honestly, first and foremost, I appreciate all those people that go out and do that. I don't have the same fighting experience that these people do. Okay. And I'll never admit that. I mean, the last time I've been into a real altercation has been like 15 years ago. And the reason is because of my confidence and my ability to have awareness
Yeah.
know where the fight's going to happen. I don't put myself in that situation.
Yes.
And I'm sure you guys are the same. You know what I
Yes.
mean? You can see a situation before it happens.
Yeah.
And then because of my confidence, I can usually calm the person down, or they can feel in that altercation. And that's happened many times. I haven't actually got into a fight in 15 years, but I've had verbal confrontations with a lot of people where the guy steps up and he's like screaming at me, and the best thing is, man, you're lucky, and you're this and blah blah blah, baby, and they start swearing and they're screaming and spitting, and you can see this guy's in fight or flight mode. He's coming, and then all of a sudden he comes up to me, and then for some reason he looks at me and he's like, nah, not this guy.
Too ugly for
And
me.
then he turns around and he walks away. Man, because when he comes into the situation, I mean, I might be scared inside, and I never said that
Yeah.
I'm not.
Of
And I might
course.
have fight or flight mode inside, but when you're looking from the outside, you can't see. So what happens is I've trained myself to be calm on the outside in that situation,
Of
or
course.
calmer than the person that's attacking me. And they're
That's the
like, "Oh
most
man, there's
important.
something wrong with this guy."
Yeah,
So
it's
they
too
turn
confident.
around, swear, and the
Too
best thing
much
is, "You're
confidence.
lucky, bro. You're lucky. You're so lucky. I'm gonna okay, buddy. I'm lucky. Go away." And they end up going away. So with practice and training, you get confidence. More
Yeah.
of these police officers, we put them in the situation at the dojo, what happens? The more confident they get.
Yes.
The more situations they put themselves in, the more times they get to learn about how to get themselves out of the situation. I'll give you a perfect example. One of my police officers, and I'm from a small town. I've taught a lot of the police officers in my town, and directly or indirectly, and I'm driving, and he's actually one of my students. He's been training with me for 15 years. He was with me from the beginning, and I watched him, and he had three, and I drove down by the street. He had 3 or 4 youths. You can tell these guys were younger individuals sitting on a curb with their legs crossed and their legs out. And so I just took notes, sort of sat there. He was doing his thing. So then I left, right? And then afterwards, of course, he came to the dojo the next day to train. And I was like, hey, bro, can you tell me why you did that? He says, because now if they're sitting on the curb with their legs crossed, before they have to run away, they have to get up. They have to bring their feet in towards them to get up, to stand up. And
Interesting.
so I had 4 of them there. And he was doing something with them, but they were a threat to him, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And there's 4
Yes.
of them, and maybe he couldn't get back up. So what he did was he sat all of them down on the floor, to give him 1 or 2 or 3 more seconds to recognize if one of them was going to pop up and take off and run. You see what I mean? And sitting them down doesn't give them the, oh my God, I got to run feeling. So I didn't teach him that. But what happened is through practicing at the dojo and him going through these realistic situations, it's probably something that he occurred down the road in his teachings, you know. I mean, this guy's ex-military, this guy's high-level policing. Like, I mean, this guy is a seasoned pro. You know, this is the guy that you want at the bar on Friday night to come when everything hits the fan. And usually they call him because, man, he's the guy that has the understanding. You see what I mean? So that's an easy way for me to answer your question, Francis. I mean, and it can't be just one. Oh, it's only grappling. No. Oh, it's only no. It's only stick fighting. No. You have to sort of combine everything.
Yes.
So and bringing him to the dojo, I usually do it individually. So there'll only be 911ers in the dojo. I won't do it with other people.
Yes.
Not that I don't do self-defense in class, or if I'm teaching a self-defense in class, I'll say, okay, that's for them. I want you to add this, and this to the situation because that's happening. And it's through conversations with them that I've got scenarios. Like, oh, big boss, man, everyone is pulling to the ground now. Well, of course they are because they've been watching MMA for the last how many years. So your tactics are not working anymore. And please don't let anyone get to your back because everyone knows a rear naked choke now. So you got to learn how to defend that really fast. You see what I mean? So it's scenarios like that you have to run through with them and being realistic. Yeah.
Nice. We got here like I'm gonna guess numbers, but we have here maybe 3 guys that they are, you know, police officers, and man, you know, one of them he has a tough job because he goes to the nasty parts here, you know, to the really bad parts here of town, and he well told us maybe twice that, man, I just was there ready to go into this fight, big guy. So, man, he was able to do everything, you know, dominate, you know, the guy, put the cuffs, you know, on him without hurting, you know, the guy. So, you know, take down, control the guy, put the cuffs, no punches, no hurting.
And he said exactly what you said, and he told us exactly what you said. Professor, I don't remember what I did. What I did first. I don't know if I did the Osoto
the technique A or B.
Yes. I don't know what I did, but when I realized I was already with him under my control, and that's it.
He never threw a punch, never hurted the guy.
Here's liability. What happens. So what happens is you start your training. So one of the questions I get, well, am I going to forget if you teach me something new, am I going to forget what I learned at OPC, the policing college and stuff like that? That doesn't happen. When you get in an altercation, whatever your body is used to and has been practicing more, it will do that first. Right? Because you got to remember, your mind's not in the fight anymore.
It's almost a muscle memory, right?
Yes, man, it's like walking. And the great part about being a human being or an animal in general is that we learn through habit.
The second nature.
I mean, if you stand up like this 50 times, guess what? I don't have to stand up and walk to the door and think about walking. Your body does it naturally. Or writing your name. Like if I take a pen and I write my name down, no one thinks about doing that. You throw a pen in sign my name. Okay, I just sign it. Why? Because you've done it so many times that you don't have to think about. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing with physical fitness and technique. I don't have to show you guys how to pass the guard. It's like sometimes when you're doing it over and over, you're like, man, I didn't even know how to pass the guard. I just do it. It's only when you start teaching it that you have to break it down in your head and start thinking, that's how I pass the guard. Oh, I need to put my hand there. And that's why everyone has to get that role of teaching at the same time as they are learning. That's why I put my senior belts with my junior belts. So the senior belts, it's another way to learn the information is by passing it on.
To retain also, right?
I'll give you, yes, and you can retain it. I'll give you a perfect example. So my student came into the dojo, freshly new, and he got into police officer got into an altercation. So I asked him, "Oh, what happened?" He says, "Big boss, man, I don't even know what happened." I said, "Man, what color shirt was he wearing?" I can't even remember. I said, "Okay, well, let's go through. What do you think?" So we break the scenarios down, we work them in class, and we go out, and it happened again. And a year later, 2 years later, we just keep doing this. We talk about what happened, what happened, what happened. And now, bro, he can tell me the color of the guy's eyes. He can tell me what clothes he was wearing. He can explain every situation in detail, how the entry was, what technique he used, what takedown he did, and everything. You know why? Experience. His mind in that classical sense of fight or flight is starting to calm down, and he's starting to think a little bit more. And the reason why he can think a little bit more is because his body's already adapted to the information. So once your body adapts and you don't have to worry about your body doing the right thing, then you can start doing what? You can calm your mind down and start thinking in the situation. I can tell you that last altercation, bro, the last altercation I had, I can tell you how many guys, and it was a good one. It was literally like in a parking lot, multiple attacks, 2, 3 guys. Like it was a good altercation. Okay. And I can tell you what happened in detail, who started, who was there, what the guy said to me, like the whole 9 yards. The reason is and it wasn't only, you've seen some of my self-defenses that I've done online that I post. Those basic self-defenses, I've been doing those since I was 14 years old, bro.
Yeah.
And it's the same. I haven't changed them. I do the same self-defense that I was doing since I was 14. And the reason why I do it is because, man, why would you want to change something that you've been practicing forever? You know what I mean?
And you believe
I mean,
on that,
you
right?
can, man,
And also you believe on
not
that.
only that, yes. Man, if you're in an altercation and someone's coming and the first thing you have is doubt, what's going to happen? Well,
Oh yeah.
that doubt, you're going to bring it into the situation. So you just enter in like, and it's funny because I'll enter into the situation. One of the long time ago, I learned this lesson. I was like entering into a situation where it's a long story. A girl got robbed, and I went and helped bring the guys that robbed the girl back. And as I was running towards these robbers, in my head, I started to think, like, holy smokes, why am I doing this? Some girl screamed at the mall, and I'm running, chasing these 2 guys. The guy can have a gun, the guy can have a knife.
Yeah.
And as I'm running, my brain starts to go through this thought process, and I mentally shut it off. I mentally, on my own, said, stop thinking about it. Get and go what you got to do. Don't think about it. And man, and
Make it
I was
happen.
like 19 or 20 years old when that happened. You see what I mean? So those type of situation gives you those learning tools. Well,
Yeah.
imagine a police officer, guys, like
Oh yeah.
a lady police officer that's been in the
The
same,
stress level, man, is
150
Every day.
man,
Every
man,
day.
150-pound lady, coming up against a 250-pound guy. No problem for a police officer. Lady, guy, doesn't matter. You want to know why? Because they've seen it. So they have things that they do beforehand that will make sure, like, sit the guy down. Okay, right away, maybe put him in the car or stand a certain way so that if the guy does bolt or the guy does run,
there's a
she'll know
process,
how
right?
to stop him, or
Procedures,
man,
actually.
policy and
Procedures.
procedure.
Policy and procedures.
Yeah.
We're
We go
talking
back
about it
again to
again,
the
right?
to Monday.
man, and it is that simple. And the key for the police officers that are online, that or your police officer, I can't remember. Well, just keep thinking about it, keep talking about it, keep bringing yourself into that situation, and visualization is a very important role
Yes.
in our training and being a martial artist. You know what I mean? Jiu-jitsu, you
Yes.
don't have to really visualize because, man, you're doing it, bro. The
N-
guy's in your
Now,
guard. You're
now,
passing.
man, now I'm becoming master in invisible
Invisible
jiu-jitsu, my
jiu-jitsu.
brother. Yeah.
You see what I
Actually,
mean? Because the
yeah,
guy's not there anymore,
yeah,
Marcelo. You're
and
stuck in your home, and you
I
have to.
I think I'm gonna change. I'm not gonna train anymore.
Well, listen, you know what
I'm
you're
gonna
gonna
have
do?
No more, no
Naturally,
more injuries.
bro.
No more
no,
injuries.
No,
That's a
no.
good.
listen.
That's a
Now,
good
You're
thing.
now
gonna
only invisible jiu-jitsu, man. Don't hurt.
Not gonna hurt
listen.
anymore.
Let me listen. Let me ask you a question. It's called
Jesus
kata, my
Christ.
friends.
It's a what? Sorry,
It's called kata.
What? Go again?
kata.
That's
Yeah,
why it
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah, yeah,
developed.
yeah, yeah.
I'm
I
telling
know.
you, the
I
reason,
know.
man, because now I can practice the technique, I can practice the self-defense, and I really can do it at my own speed. And here's the best point. Jiu-jitsu is really nice, but you need a partner.
Yeah.
Okay? And the Japanese figured out a long time ago that if we want to spread this martial art like judo, like aikido, like karate, and I want to pass it outside of my town. Like we're not in Japan anymore, my friends. I'm learning karate all the way the hell out in Orangeville, Ontario, Canada. So what they did is they're like, well, if we make patterns or katas, how many patterns does judo have, Francis? It's
A
a
lot.
grappling art. You need another person to go
Of
through the
course.
technique. But
And
what the
katas too. They have
Japanese started to
katas
figure
as
out
well.
was,
They have
yeah, bro,
katas as
of
well.
course, a man. And
I have a
so
few
if you
katas.
don't learn the kata, then you can't practice the. Oh, but practice kata is not real. Well, it's not real because you don't understand the
It's
moves
the
of the kata,
foundations. The foundations
which
of
will
it.
always bring you back to your instructor. You
Yes.
can't go too far. You see. You know what I mean? And
Yes.
some of the stuff that you see online for jujitsu guys is like, okay, that will not work 110%.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There's no way that's gonna work.
This is something. This is something that, well, it's probably, well, let's say, other day for us to talk about it. But man, this is, let's say, lots of people keep saying, oh, but but guard is not good for street. Man, we're not talking about this because of this. Jiu-jitsu, we have layers of it. So if you're
Yes.
talking, okay, I want to be a world champion. Okay, get the gi, get your shirt, and let's roll. Let's stand up, take downs, and conditioning training. Great. Okay, but I'm a let's say officer. Man, self defense for you, and then train with gi, and then no gi
Yes.
until you go to your blue belt level. It's enough. It's
Yes.
enough. You don't have to
Yes.
be a black belt,
Yeah.
stripes on your belt, master level. A blue belt, a good, solid blue belt, you can handle a lot of things when you're an officer. That's my thinking of it.
Yeah.
But you have to learn self-defense stuff.
What happens? What happens when the guys? What happens when the guy's a black belt in jujitsu? What am I gonna do then? Oh, you're gonna get choked out. Sorry, bro.
Yeah.
You better get
Most
that
Yeah.
of the
black belt in jujitsu, or pull your gun out, or get your stick, or do something because you
yes,
know, it's good. But here's the best part. If people are teaching their martial arts in their dojos and in their schools the way it be, you're not gonna come up against a black belt in jiu-jitsu because a black belt in jiu-jitsu or
it's
black
not
belt in
gonna
karate is not
it's
going to
not
go
gonna create a
around
problem
and
outside.
beating people up. No,
Yeah. That's
no.
that's
And
the
if
that's
if
the
they
point
run
of view. That
if they
yeah.
run
That's
fundamentally the way they're supposed to. Now, if you're a dum dum and you walk up to a black belt and that you didn't know was a black belt, oh, I'm going to
Yeah,
beat you up because you're a punk. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Then and
It hap-
here's another situation. So I get in an altercation tomorrow, and the police officer finds out that I'm a fifth degree black belt in this and a second in that and blah boxing for this many years. And he comes and the guy's got two broken legs, a busted up face, a blah blah
jail.
blah
yeah.
blah. Look, handcuffs and in jail.
See you in 15
So
years.
bro, your responsibility knowing technique
Yes.
and understanding. Here's the way I like teaching my self-defense at the dojo, just so everyone can understand. It's very simple. What happens if you're at a family function with your uncle and he gets a little too wasted? Everyone has that crazy uncle, you know what I mean? Takes too many, casashas and they're
Caipirinhas.
and he's capiritas and he's out cold, you know what I mean? And he starts. If I take him and I judo throw him into the ground, jump on top of him, choke him out, punch him out, man, I just hurt my grandfather. Or let's say your grandfather has dementia.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they don't know that you're who you are.
What they're
They
doing.
all of a sudden think that you're a stranger,
Yeah.
and they start attacking you. That's
Sure.
the best part about jiu-jitsu. And in boxing and karate, you don't learn that till you're like 4, 5, 6 years of training. Then you can start to understand that, okay, there's a little bit of finesse here. You know, my technique's good. Now, you know what? I'm not gonna punch him hard in the face. I'm just gonna grab him, control him, and take him down. Maybe a little foot sweep him, take him down. With jiu-jitsu, you can learn real fast how to take care of the person that's attacking you.
Yeah.
You know, not because
Yeah.
he's
Of your
not
partners.
because he's
Sometimes.
you know, he's a bad guy and you want to hurt him, just because maybe he got fight or
Yeah.
flight and he doesn't understand where he is and he's now
Yeah.
attacking you in the situation, you know. So
Yeah.
that's the best part and the beauty of continuous training and studying and practicing and then learning, is because you can start to manage and take care of your opponent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
That's the idea, to control, not to hurt, right? That's what we
right,
pretty much
100%.
do. Yeah.
And those police officers that sometimes you watch the video and they go accept, most of the time it's because they don't have a lot of training.
Yep.
And they're really scared, so they're in fight or flight mode. But man,
There's
like,
lots of videos, right?
it's pretty,
Like this.
bro. It's pretty simple. When the police officer says
Você tá,
to you,
você tá sem
"You
áudio,
are under arrest."
Francis.
Hello? Can you guys hear me?
Você tá sem áudio.
Don't hear me?
Go ahead, Angelo. Francis is listening, but he's not.
So
Can you hear me now?
So if a police officer says to you, "Hey, listen, you are under arrest," you basically have to go in the car. Like,
Yes.
man, sorry. If they say those words, you're pretty much, you can't let the police officer get to the
Yes.
point where they're saying you're under arrest. You can have a verbal confrontation or maybe even an argument with them, but if you get to the point where they're like, man, you're getting to the point where you're endangering me, you're endangering society, sorry, my friend, you're under arrest. It's better for you to say, hey, okay, I'm gonna calm down, sit in the car, let's have a conversation, which has happened. Like, that's, but most of the time,
I remember,
the
Angelo.
other person gets into fight or flight mode and they want to jet and take off and run. Well, man, sorry, you're under arrest.
Yeah.
So there is no running.
Yes.
If he has to call another police officer, he has to go hands on. If she has to take you down, put the handcuffs on. If she has to sit you in the car and have a conversation with you, and then you might be allowed out afterwards. But for the most part, if it's like, sorry, bro, conversation time's over, it's time for you to sit down and we'll have this discussion, and now your rights as an, I can argue. Well, yeah, you can, but the argument happens in a different way now. You need a lawyer, you need to sit in the car. Like, sorry, you've gone too far. And man, it's up
Cross
to
the
the
line.
police officer's discretion. And if they can articulate that, hey, sorry, you know, he was uttering death threats, he looked like he was running, I had suspicion, man, then you better go sit in the car. You know what I mean? Because if not, then they have the right to detain you until they figure out what's happening. And most of the time, and I can guarantee you that, you know, 99.9% of the time, it really is for your benefit to try to help you and the people around you and stuff. But you know, you can't take on face value what you see. Oh, the guy was beating, you know, 3 guys beating the snot on the guy. You know, if they don't have the ability to jump on top of the guy and control him with jiu-jitsu, that's why jiu-jitsu is so good as an art form for the police
You don't have
officers
to hurt
learn,
the other one, right?
Because then they can control the situation easily.
Yeah, without hurting.
It's simple. They do it every day at the dojo, right?
Yeah.
So, or every time they come in for practice.
Yeah.
Sure.
Becomes natural for them, you know.
Yeah, and it's the same thing as us, like, you know, like training for long, you know, 30 years,
Francis,
20 years.
I can't hear you, bro.
Can you hear me again?
Eu tô te escutando.
Can you hear me now, Angelo? Can you hear me? No?
Yeah, bro, I can hear you now. Perfect.
Okay. So, well, this is something also for us that we're training for 20, 30, 40 years. You know, imagine us if, well, we don't know how to roll easy and then how to roll soft. We're gonna be hurting people, you know, every day, and you know, there's no school, there's no business too. So, well, this is something that it's clear, you know. Well, I had problems, well, when I was younger, but was clear when I was when I was a blue, when I was a purple belt. Well, I had problems I was in some clubs and in parties, and then some of my friends were drunk, and they want to fight people. I said, man, there's no fighting here. I'm not gonna let you fight people. So I was getting them and well, taking them out instead of me. Okay, let's fight tonight. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Man, there's no fight. There's no way that me, even by being a blue belt, that I'm gonna show my knowledge by fighting people that they know nothing. You want to show up something, man, go back, to the
and
gym.
not only that,
let's train hard.
Even at that point, Francis, you can understand the risks involved. Like, so many things can happen.
To
like,
hurt
the reason
others,
why I don't
man,
want to get into an altercation now is because at any time in a real fight scenario, it can change in a snap, bro. So I'm not going to risk my family, my health, my livelihood just to try to prove myself in a situation.
And some people, can come with a knife, a gun. Man.
Especially nowadays, but 15, 20 years ago, people they not used to
have
carry too many guns and stuff like that. It's much more but nowadays, everyone, especially
everybody has
United States,
United States, everybody has a gun.
It's a different world,
and that's exactly it. So knowing that everything can happen, it's funny because the more knowledge you get, the better you are at fighting. Yeah, okay, but the more knowledge you get, the more you realize that I don't know.
You don't have to fight,
and
you don't have to fight.
The more you learn, the more you're like, oh snap! I have to learn that. I have to learn. Oh my God! I don't want to go. And in a good school, like yours and mine and ours, is we get to test each other all the time, safely, with the officers, with the other students. You know what I mean? And I get to pick the guys and the girls that I'm rolling with, and I can practice techniques that I want to learn and get confidence. And when you have confidence, bully awareness 101. Once you're confident, then people usually leave you alone. Once you recognize, situations happening over here, and I have lots of stories like about how I've entered into a situation and just doing that calmed everybody down and just like
to manage the problem.
Angelo, I was in a bank.
Remember one time, I think was 2007 or 8, we were into a party, a club, you, me, and other four guys, and then we just pay, to leave. I was the first guy, maybe, going down. I saw lots of blood. Remember the floor?
Yeah.
I just, guys, so I said, guys, so let's go outside because something happened really bad there. Like, man, like really big pieces of blood. And then
do you remember what happened?
Yes, man, it was like 2 girls and then 1 guy. One girl was, like out cold, and man, the girl, the second girl was completely drunk, and also, the guy drunk, everybody crying, and then and then was a big cut here on her wrist and arm. I just grab her, put it up. I said, man, call the cops, call the ambulance. I was kind of totally sober, but man, manage. Let's make it happen. Stop crying. Oh, she's gonna die. And we,
remember she stood up, Francis, and we turned her. No, sit her back down, Francis. If she stands up, she's gonna pass out. She stood up and then passed out again, fell down on the ground, and police ended up coming. Ambulance. They were doing nothing. Obviously, Rio de Janeiro weren't there to help anyone. You know what I mean? And
real life,
and
24/7.
Bro, it was, man, that was crazy. That was a situation. And remember what happened?
Yes,
she put her hand through a glass going out the door, and she cut her wrist.
Yes, man, she was like crazy. She was like completely drunk, maybe drugs too.
Yeah.
All of them. We were sober. We just had like beer, so it's fine.
We weren't that sober, but we sobered up really fast when we came down the stairs.
The thing is that it's like we were drinking beers, but not like 1,000 beers, each one. And we're really able to go and then handle it, which is we were just able to handle because we had years, experiences of training and fight for real, and training hard and training in a really different level. So We're not, oh, I'm a black belt, so
Yeah.
I can. No, we're really, you know, able to handle and to help them. With
Yeah.
the most, you know, good thing about it.
I see the comment here from George, and George is 100% right. I mean, people that train, he said one thing that that is said is true, is that the most higher belts, you know, avoid the issues all the time, and it's simply because
White belts are a problem,
you
right?
know how, bro. No, the thing is the more you train, the more you know you don't know. You know what I mean? That's the simple.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I'm sitting here now with the confidence that I have,
The
but I'm
humility
not
as
saying
well.
here
We
that
have
I
to be
know it
humble.
all, bro. Like as soon as something comes into this
No one
this
knows it
vessel
all.
into me that I think that I need to add or change, I'll change it right away. Like I mean, I don't talk the same
Yeah.
like I did 15 years ago because I have more knowledge. I have a different understanding. I got different people around me, so I have to change the way that I think. You know?
And your body changes too, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no way, man.
Man.
The injuries, their neck.
It's
hurt,
hard to
their
run
shoulder hurt
faster.
a little bit.
Bro.
So, posture, everything
Bro,
changes. You know?
it's funny when you're 30 years old, you think you can go through anything, and then you turn 40, 45, and then you're like, oh yeah, you
Not so
know,
much.
I can't have sugar, I can't move as fast. I mean, and I have 20-year-old kids. My kids are in their prime, 23, 24 years old,
And they
and
and
I'm
they're
working them through drills.
and they're
And
beasts,
bro,
man. Kids are beasts.
man, like there's no sense in catching up to them. But what I do have is I have a sense of efficiency.
Yeah.
I have a sense of knowledge. I have a sense of ability because I put myself in that situation. So because I'm not as fast as him, but because my understanding of the technique is cleaner, then I can get a better understanding of the technique. They say as a martial artist, it's not until your 40s that you start to get like at your prime because you have time on technique. So you've practiced about as much as you can with the full efficiency. You have a really good understanding of the technique, like knowledge and stuff like that. And because you're not over exerting, because you can't, you're older. I can't push my shoulder the way I used to do with when I was a kid because my shoulder will hurt. So you move more efficiently. So you what happens is you really become in your prime now in your 40s. You know what I mean? And to 50s, you start to get really good. That's what they say. I'm in
Hopefully.
I'm in my mid 40s.
Hopefully.
Yeah, bro. I'm in my
I'm,
mid 40s feeling like sometimes I'm 65, but when you're cracking out 30 years, I'm getting punched in the face at a
Yeah.
boxing. I still go to the boxing gym, bro.
Yeah.
Put gloves up with these 2-year-olds and get punched in the face. I mean, something has got to give eventually, and maybe I'll stop someday. I don't think any day soon, but I'm sure the masters at 55 are laughing at me saying, yeah, wait, young puppy.
Wait.
And then the ones at 60s, at 70s are like, yeah, you should have stopped when you were 30, dum. You keep going. Watch what's gonna happen when you're 70.
Not gonna be able
Bro,
even to go to the bathroom by yourself, right?
bro, again, the good thing about having people that are ahead of me is that I can just ask.
Yeah.
I have some instructors that say you should stop fighting, bro. Like, don't fight anymore because when you're 75 years old, you're not going to be able to walk. You're not going to be able to move. You know?
Yeah,
and
sure.
so okay,
It's
I'm
something that
you know, when you're 65 years old,
But
you still
now-
have good 20, 25 years.
But
know?
now,
So-
but now, Angelo, there's something new that we just learned it yesterday. We call physio training.
Yeah.
I show you
yeah.
this.
New.
Man,
Days
that's
ago,
amazing.
yeah.
Physio
Nice.
training. Technique.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah, and-
Chris, I know if it's Chris is live with us here now, but she was
before.
she was before. Man, that's
I
a
think
really
that she
good,
wrote
technique, guys. Well, we
Nice.
did this live with
Very
her
interesting.
yesterday. Very interesting.
Yeah.
We're gonna be, putting this in our classes too, so we can train longer.
Yeah, and listen, guys. Let me ask you personally, like as a person, you have a set of drills and stretches that you do before and after you're done your training that are specific to you, right? And stuff that you eat that help you.
Yes, but man, so she made something that also will probably change, our
Nice.
let's say, way of, prepare for our training.
Yeah.
How to stretch
Knowledge.
knees, how to stretch the shoulders, how to take care
Nice.
of your back, because sometimes we do
Nice.
things because, man, it's just a matter of we've been doing this for 30 years. So, man, let's do, jumping jacks and, sit ups. So maybe there's, and other ways and better ways to actually do those things to be safer.
Yeah.
So we can train longer. So we're going to have to go back to this and learn again, and then tweak and change the way that we do, because, I mean, I want to roll until I die. So, but we have to know how to slow down. And then how to change. So this is other talk that we can do, but
100%.
that's it.
Well, you choose your partners, gentlemen. That's all. You know what I mean? It's sad to say, but
man, as soon as you make 2 points, the other guy wants to kill you. That's the problem.
Well, bro, we're in this. We're gonna have these talks in another 10 years, and we can look back and say, hey, what we said 10 years ago, we should have changed. But that's all knowledge, bro.
Delete that video.
Light training is one of the biggest lie. If you say that you're gonna do, let's do a light row, man, you're a liar. It's hard to find someone that does that.
Yeah.
Well,
very hard.
Angelo.
Well, listen, guys, another great talk.
Was amazing.
Let's try to do even we can do more talks on what we did, or do some more next week. I love them.
Sure.
This is fantastic. It's good for the students. It's good for our minds too, to help and man, I appreciate it.
We will
same. We'll sit down, talk, and we'll figure it out.
We're gonna talk, after this, all right. Besides this, and then I'm gonna find, some way, because probably, there is, a way that we can bring more people in, so to have a kind of 5 people, 6 people chatting, video.
Yeah, and
chatting.
I can get people like Paulo and other people, instructors that I know, even some of my high-level karate instructors, if I ask them ahead of time, and man, we can get some really good people on the talk if you want. You know what I mean? For sure.
Let's talk about this after.
Great. Sounds good, guys.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Everyone listening, awesome for listening. Thanks for everything, and
thanks for being here with us, guys. Be safe, be home, and be active, and be watching us. We have classes every day, all right, for our group, and we are posting videos not only from us but from friends in our Facebook group. Call it In Home Jiu-Jitsu. So it's a group for everybody. It's not for us only. So if you're a guy that you're teaching, that have videos sent to us, and we're gonna put it there as well.
Awesome, guys.
All right. Thank you very much.
Bye, Angelo.
Be safe, guys.
Valeu.
Talk to you guys later. Bye bye.